sincerely. And shalom to the Aki. Scattered through the four corners of the globe. Preach the word truthfully and sincerely. That be like unto the speckled bird. Say shalom to your brother out there. And this is a news article. And this is published by Daniel Stewart about 8 hours ago. About 8 hours ago. About like 8 hours ago. In the news, November the 11th, 2022. And it says, this is from news360.com. And this is about msn.com by Daniel Stewart. 8 hours ago, this was posted from news360.com. And a highlight of this news article, and it reads, and this pertains to the wars and rumors of wars increasing. Even if Russia's soldiers retreated part in that area of Ukraine, but they still be getting shellings, and hours after evacuation, So that still goes to show you that war in Russia-Ukraine is still increasing, And the highlight of this news article, when it reads, it says Russia begins shelling Kherson hours after the evacuation of its military. The Russian defense minister has announced the start of shellings in the areas of Kherson recently vacated by the army of the Russia on the western bank of Dnieper River, in a series of attacks also confirmed by the Ukraine security forces, who have reportedly and at least 3 possible deaths in these operations. So that was a little quick little news article right there. Bring out Ezekiel 38. This is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 38, verse 1. This is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 38, verse 1. It says, and the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog and the land of Magog, and the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and prophesy against them. Which is Yahweh Shemal Shai is prophesied against Gog and Magog, because Gog and Magog is the modern day Russians, It says in Ezekiel 38:3, and say, thus saith Yahweh, behold, I am against thee, O God, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal. Ezekiel 38:4, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth, and all thy armies, horse and horsemen, all of them clothed with armor, sorts of armors in great company, bucklers and shields, and all of them will handle swords. Ezekiel 38:5, Persia, Ethiopia, Libya, and them all of them with shields and helmets. Ezekiel 38:6, Gomer, which is the modern day Turkish. It says all of his bands in the house of Tobal of the north quarters, and all his bands, and many people with them. Ezekiel 38:7, and it reads, be thou prepared, and prepare thyself, thou and all thy companies that are assembled unto thee, and be thou guard unto them. So that's what we see, Even though Yahweh Shemal Shai is prophesying against Gog and Magog, but he's still putting that spirit on these Russians, These Edomite nations, which is the Russians modern day, Gog and Magog, which is the modern day Russians. That bear represents the Russians, And I'm gonna go to after that shelling attack, even if they had soldiers have retreated from that area in Ukraine, that goes to show you that the war is still continuing going on over there, And I'm gonna bring out that Matthews 24:6. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 24, verse 6. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See, that should be not trouble for all these things. And these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Right? Because you're going to continue to have these prophecies unravel and unfold in the latter days, and that's what we're currently seeing. What the wars and rumors of wars between the nations and different kingdoms as well too. With the current Russia-Ukraine situation, that's that nation against nation and kingdom against kingdom. Even though they both Edomite nations, because Ukraine used to be part of the USSR. They separated themselves, I say about like in 1992 or 1994. So they separated themselves from it. And now, with the invasion of Ukraine, ever since February all the way to now, those wars and rumors of wars are heating up between the different nations and different kingdoms as well too. And I'm gonna go to the next verse, Matthews 24:7. Salakia just loading up. Matter of fact, this is the book of Matthews. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 24, verse 7. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be famines and pestilence, and earthquakes in diverse places. Right, because we see in the famines, we see in the pestilence, we see in the earthquakes in diverse places. I'll cover stories on that as well too. For the past 2 or 3 days, I've been doing videos about pertaining to the earthquakes in diverse places. And now, continuing doing videos of prophecies of these nations are rising up against one another, and it's heating up. And this is the book of Luke, chapter 21. 21 and verse 9.
International?
I'm good, brother.
That's understandable. You have a nice day, boss, man.
You too. This is the book of Luke, chapter 21, verse 9. This is the book of Luke, chapter 21, verse 9. But when ye shall hear of wars, but when ye shall hear of wars and commotions, it's basically like a precept to the Matthew's 24th chapter, 6 through 7 verse, and this is Luke 21 and 9. It says, but when ye shall hear of wars and commotions, be ye not terrified, for these things must first come to pass. But the end is not by and by. Right, those prophecies, these prophecies are increasing. That's why the end is not yet. But you got the MOTB, the Quran, which me and the brother Alawami, we did a sit-down lesson on that, when is the hour of temptation, that MOTB is that Quran season, it's here, slowly but surely, increasing of that as well too. That's prophecy as well too, because that MOTB, that Quran, is going to come right along with WW3, which is Revelations 11 and 14. And I'm going to drop down to 25. You see in this as well too that I'm about to bring out. This is the book of Luke, chapter 21, verse 25. And it reads, and there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and upon the stars, which we seen about a couple of days ago, the that blood moon. That blood moon and stuff like that. About a couple days ago. That's about like 3 days ago. And that was spiritual, right along with the election day as well too. Which anybody really don't care about the election like that. But that's just a prime example of the signs that we are seeing. And I'm gonna read out again. This is the book of Luke, chapter 21, verse 25. And there shall be signs in sun, and there shall be signs, and there shall be signs. I meant to say Salakia, and in the sun and in the moon, and upon the stars, and upon the earth the distress of nations with perplexity. Right, because we see in the distress of these nations, upwards of the people of the world. You can read that in 2 Ezra 9:3, and then 2 Ezra 15 and verse 16. That's among man's spirit, and you see in the distress of nations, and increasing. You're going to continue to see it increase with the uproars of the people in the world. They should not regard their kings nor their princes, and that's what we're seeing. That's going to increase. The distress of nations. The nations going against one another within their own nation. These nations going against their leaders that's in power. They doing a heavy protest about that. That's why it's uproars of the people in the world. Another distress of nations. Nations clashing with each other of different nations, and that's what we're seeing. The nations against nations and kingdom against kingdoms, and these things are going to continue. And just like even though the Russian soldiers have retreated in that region, even though some of their soldiers have retreated, but they still doing shelling attacks. After hours of evacuation of its military, they still using shelling attacks against Ukraine. So that goes into these nations are rising up against one another. There could be cross-border conflicts, fighting over territories and lands. That's what we're seeing. All these things are going to continue to increase, continue to build up. So with that, I just want to bring out this lesson for in the news of November the 11th, 2022, on this Friday night, 7:12 p.m. Central Standard Time. Through the spirit, power, grace, and mercy of Yahweh Yahushua. And I like to give all praises and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushua, by Hashem Makakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, preaching His word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, that be like unto the speckled bird, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, scattered through the four corners of the globe, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And until next time, I will say shalom and a ball.